Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this voting meeting of the House Education Committee to order. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded, so be careful, and live streamed for the members of the public. For members participating virtually, please, I don't see any, but officially, please mute your microphones. For those attending in person, please silence your electronic devices, and we will now take attendance. Tom, if you will be so kind.
Chairman Schweier.
Here.
Representatives Abney. Here. Curry.
Here.
Friel.
Here.
Isaacson.
Here.
Kazim.
Designation?
Nelson.
Here.
O'Mara.
Here.
Friel Otten.
Here.
Probst.
Here.
Prokopiak.
Designation?
Smith Waddell.
Designation?
Takak.
Designation?
Young.
Here.
Chairman Cutler.
Present.
Representatives Anderson.
Designation.
Cooper.
Here.
Diorsi.
Here.
Glime.
Designation.
Kozak.
Designation.
McKenzie.
Designation. Oh.
Or,
Noted.
Ortitai.
Designation.
Rosel. Schlegel. Shalaba.
Designation.
Watro. A quorum is present.
Thank you. And for the record, I'd like to acknowledge that Representative Prokopiak has joined us. Thank you, sir. Moving forward, having established quorum, we will be considering three bills, and actually we're calling up another one at the end for today's agenda. The first, I'd like to call up House Bill 17, printers number 2. Kate, if you will be so kind to read a summary.
House Bill 17 by Representative Watro amends the school code to require instruction in cursive handwriting or joint italics to be taught in the appropriate grade levels.
Thank you. Representative Watro, I'd like to recognize you, sir, if you have some comments on your legislation.
Thank you, good Chairman. Chairman Schweier, Chairman Cutler, and members of the Education Committee, thank you sincerely for considering House Bill 17. My legislation simply calls for instruction in cursive handwriting or joint italics in their appropriate grade level to ensure that all Pennsylvania students learn how to write and read cursive. In our digital world, cursive has fallen by the wayside, but there are many reasons for students to have at least get the basic grasp of cursive writing. In addition, students need cursive to read historical documents. A growing cursive illiteracy poses a threat to accessing and comprehending key historical sources such as the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. At least 24 states have laws on the books requiring cursive to be taught, including Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and West Virginia. Teaching is fundamental and functionally relevant skills better equip students for academic and professional endeavors. Thank you for your consideration on this important legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to acknowledge for the record that Representatives Takak and Shalaba have joined us. I'd like to thank them both for joining us today. Are there any other questions or comments on House Bill 17? Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the member for putting this forward. Obviously, there are both cognitive and developmental skills, I think, that are learned through cursive, but more importantly, I think it's important that we understand the foundations of our historical and our founding documents, which this bill would obviously do. Mr. Chairman, all the Republicans will be in support of this based on my communications with them, so a roll call would not be necessary.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for the reminder of that, because as I told you, I would absolutely would have forgotten that. I too want to thank the maker of this legislation and for bringing this to our attention. Look at it from a slightly different perspective. I have an 18-year-old who, a couple of years ago got her first bank account, and watching her try to endorse her first paycheck was quite the interesting experience on a human level. And so just, 12 years of Catholic school, I could still do the circles and the up and down lines. I see Rep. Friel saying she did that as well. And I just think that there's a part of education is actually teaching human skills, not knowledge for the sake sake of knowledge, but actually preparing people for real life. And this is perfectly reasonable and a smart way to go about it, and I thank the maker for joining us. So, Tom, I will tell you there will be no roll call necessary. All Democrats will be a yes as well. And as it is unanimously adopted, the House Bill 17 will be reported as committed. Thank you, sir. Moving forward, I'd like to call up House Bill 191, printers number 138. Kate, if you'll be so kind.
House Bill 191 by Representative Brennan amends the school code by requiring the presence of an automated external defibrillator or an AED and one individual certified in CPR and the use of an AED in each school building during the school day.
Thank you. Is Tim here? Tim, you could come on up. Before you do that, let's consider the amendment just so that we're talking about the bill together. There is one technical amendment that I will be offering, Amendment A00465. Kate, if you would be so kind.
A00465 by Chair Schweier is technical in nature and removes the phrase private schools from the legislation.
Thank you. Again, this is a technical amendment that was brought to our attention mostly from a definitional standpoint. This does not have any impact on private schools, parochial schools, or anything like that. There's actually a weird glitch in the education code, if I'm not mistaken, that this could be interpreted as college and career technical schools on the post-secondary level. That's not the intention of the bill. So really just trying to deal with the 8 million different places where education code exists in the Commonwealth and being consistent with state law. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you for making this correction at our request. It was something that some of our members brought forward in regards to the very varied definitions of school entities, both public and private, and then alternate entities as you outlined. So for that reason, I'd ask all of our members to please support the amendment.
Erring on the side of caution, we'll just do a roll call.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representatives Abney. Curry. Friel. Isaacson. Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Nelson. O'Mara. Friel Otten. Probst. Prokopiak. Smith Waddell.
Yes by designation.
Takak. Young. Chairman Cutler.
Yes.
Representatives Anderson.
Yes by designation.
Cooper. Diorsi. Gleim.
Yes by designation.
Kozak.
Yes by designation.
McKenzie. Ortitai.
Yes by designation.
Rosal. Schlegel. Shalaba. Watro. The yeas are 26, the nays are 0. The amendment passes.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Now that the amendment has been agreed to, I would like to recognize you, Representative Brennan, for conversation and comment on the underlying bill.
Thank you, Chairman Schweier. This is a bipartisan initiative. Yesterday, I was at a press conference with Senator Ward and Senator Brown on this exact topic. It's something that I've received broad, supportive correspondences on. Yesterday, we were with the American Heart Association. We had a representative from the NFL. We had a former linebacker from the Steelers who was here supporting this bill. CHOP has been supportive. American College of Cardiologists have been supportive. I've worked across party lines last year to try and get language that works for folks. Many of you remember that on January 2nd, 2023, 24-year-old Allegheny County native Damar Hamlin had sudden cardiac arrest on Monday Night Football. That was the day before we were all sworn in, and since that time I've been trying to move many of these AED initiatives that truly can save lives. This week we passed House Bill 193, which requires AEDs in state buildings, and we really do owe it to our kids to be prepared to save their lives when something happens on their playing fields. Nearly 500,000 people suffer a cardiac arrest each year. It's more than 1,000 people a day. 90% of the time they're fatal when they occur outside of a hospital. But with an AED, within a minute, survival rate can jump up to 90%. Like 90%, we'd be saving people. Unfortunately, only about 10% of the time are these AEDs actually being used, and with each passing minute, the survival rate drops. And a lot of times, if people just call 911, it's too late for our kids. It's too late for these people who are having these cardiac arrests. It can happen from anything. It could be eating disorders. Baseball is one of the big reasons, being hit in the chest. Contact sports. dehydration, heat exhaustion. So this serves a purpose. This is a valuable life-saving tool that we should have in our schools. As a whole, schools with an AED and an actual plan to deal with this problem have a 80% survival rate. This bill requires an AED at our schools and athletic events. It requires an emergency action plan, ongoing education. 20-plus states already have this bill or a similar law. So I think we all see these stories where someone is saved because of quick action. Someone is saved because these resources are available. Passing a bill like this makes those stories a lot more likely in the future. So I encourage you all to vote yes.
Thank you, sir. Are there any comments or questions on the bill as amended?
Thank you to the maker of the bill.
Representative Probst?
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you to the maker of the bill. Over 20 years ago at East Stroudsburg North, there was a student that died because there wasn't an AED available during a basketball game. And it's a rural area, and by the time it took forever for the ambulance to get there, to get him back to the hospital. Southern Pike County doesn't have much of what we call health care. And they're still advocating for AEDs today, the Moyer family. So thank you for this, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Chair Cutler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this bill will have my support because it ensures that a proven and effective medical treatment is readily available, and it, more importantly, it provides the funding assistance to ensure that happens. I found myself in an unfortunate circumstance on a personal level where I was attending a PUC hearing, and we had a gentleman in the audience go down with a cardiac arrest, and myself and a nurse performed CPR. Unfortunately, there was not an AED present on site. And ultimately, the gentleman did pass away despite our efforts. And because of that, and my past history in working in healthcare, I understand the impacts of having these devices readily available and the training to appropriately use them. So I want to thank the gentleman for putting the bill forward. It will have my support. However, I do recognize that some people are concerned about the nature of the mandate. And for that reason, I would respectfully request a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, sir. Any other questions or comments on the underlying bill, or the bill as amended, excuse me? Yes, ma'am.
Their purposes, not mine. This only includes K to 12 schools, right? Not public colleges?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the bill as amended? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representatives Abney. Yes. Curry. Yes. Friel. Yes. Isaacson. Yes. Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Nelson.
Yes.
O'Mara. Yes. Friel Otten.
Yes.
Probst. Yes. Prokopiak. Yes. Smith Waddell.
Yes by designation.
Takak. Yes. Young. Yes. Chairman Cutler.
Yes.
Representatives Anderson.
Yes by designation.
Cooper. Yes. Diorsi. No. Gleim.
No by designation.
Kozak.
Yes by designation.
McKenzie. Yes. Ortitai.
Yes by designation.
Rosal. No. Schlegel. Yes. Shalaba.
Yes.
Watro. Yes. The yeas are 23, the nays are 3. The bill as amended passes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. House Bill 191 will be referred to full, having been received a positive vote, will be referred to the floor. Thank you, sir. Moving forward, we're going to consider, I'm going to bring up House Bill 1326 by Representative Friel. Now, there is an amendment to it, but beforehand, Kate. I'm sorry, I just realized my microphone wasn't on. I apologize. We are now going to consider House Bill 1326 by Representative Friel. There is an amendment to it, but beforehand, Kate, will you give a brief synopsis of the legislation?
House Bill 1326 by Representative Friel amends the school code to authorize school districts to collect additional data on pupil transportation.
Thank you. And Representative Friel, would you like to bring up your amendment at this point in time, sir?
Yes.
I almost made a joke about the fact that you were lucky that we had an AED in the back of the chamber. It was coming, sir. I'm just saying.
I was very tempted to comment on that passing of that AED, and
Perhaps
I support one here on the House floor.
Maybe we need one in the Ryan office building, sir, as well. Anyway, moving forward. Representative Friel, you're offering Amendment A00544, correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do you have Kate, will you give a brief description of the amendment?
This amendment removes the provision prohibiting school districts from transporting students to schools outside of the state boundaries and instead requires school districts to annually report the number of students transported outside of state boundaries. The bill makes other technical changes as well.
Representative Friel, do you have any further comments on the amendment, sir?
No, it's agreed to amendments.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments on A00544? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call on it.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representatives Abney. Curry. Friel. Isaacson. Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Nelson. O'Mara. Friel Otten. Probst. Prokopiak. Smith Waddell.
Yes by designation.
Takak. Yun. Chairman Cutler.
Yes.
Representatives Anderson.
Yes by designation.
Cooper. Diorsi. Gleim.
Yes by designation.
Kozak.
Yes by designation.
McKenzie. Ortitai.
Yes by designation.
Rosal. Schlegel. Shalaba. Watro. The yeas are 26, the nays are 0. The amendment passes.
Thank you. On the underlying bill, Representative Friel?
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to point out this bill was a culmination of about a year of meeting with stakeholders, with the good gentleman, John Schlegel over there, who was my partner in looking at transportation in schools that has not been updated since 1971. As we got into this with our stakeholder groups, and we had IUs and the School Bus Association, PASBO, and everybody else, it's a big challenge and it's a complex topic. But there was some low-hanging fruit in terms of cleaning up some of the administrative requirements. For example, manually, bus drivers are required to manually, route by route, stop by stop, write down the mileage based on an odometer while they are picking up kids, which is kind of a silly, given that we have GPS and routing software that can do a much more accurate job and do that. So we tackled the low-hanging fruit first. The bigger idea of the formula updates and some of the things I think will come in later legislation. And one of the I think things we learned was we don't have enough information to properly update the formula yet. So some of the data collection will do that and allow us to have insight to that. And with that, I just want to thank everybody who was involved in this bill. It was a great effort, and I ask for your support.
Thank you, sir. Representative Schlegel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I would like to thank Chairman Swire and Representative Friel for their collaboration on the underlying bill and the amendment being offered today. When we first started the work group last year, the input grew and grew. Representatives Friel, Chairman Swire, and ultimately our caucus chair in education, Chairman Cutler, were flexible, very helpful in their insight as we explored potential changes to school transportation. After the co-sponsor memo went out, we received feedback on some of the provisions, so we pivoted to make it more narrow in scope. After the language was dropped, we received feedback on some of the language surrounding transporting kids out of state and the unknown impact that it may have, so we worked together on an amendment. The bill doesn't call for massive spending or sweeping reform. It simply ensures that we have the data to make well-informed decisions in the future. You can't fix what you can't measure. So this bill, as amended, simply does two things. To reiterate my colleagues' comments, it allows schools to use technology to compute distances to the degree to which they're able to do so, and making manual mileage logs a thing of the past. And it collects data on student transportation that PDE has indicated is necessary to begin to explore future changes to how we fund pupil transportation. I look forward to that challenge with my colleague moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments before I turn it over to Chair Cutler? Sir. Did somebody up front? Okay. Chair Cutler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This language, as documented by several of the members, has taken multiple forms. I want to thank Chair Schweier and the prime sponsors for being agreeable to some of the suggestions, specifically some of the concerns brought up by the Republican members. I've heard, as I'm sure many of our colleagues have, about the outdated school transportation formula, the data collection process, and how it doesn't keep pace with current technology and the rising transportation costs in our aging transportation fleets. Operationally, it's vital that we collect the right data now to ensure that future decisions are based on facts and not guesses. I think this bill is a great step in the right direction after decades of inactivity. For that reason, I will be supporting it. And Mr. Chairman, based on my conversation with the Republican members, I do not believe a roll call will be necessary on this bill either.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to echo everyone's sentiments and thank both Representative Friel and Representative Schlegel for your very, very diligent work on this. And in addition to that, very candidly, I want to once again reemphasize the really, really good work by staff from both caucuses, from both committees, from the department, and from stakeholders. I know there was a tremendous amount of conversation about what we should ultimately have the transportation funding formula look like, but we all came to the same conclusion: we were just guessing. And we can't make good policy based on guesswork. And this is a step towards eliminating that, so that an ultimate product, whether it's later this year, next year, or the following session, whatever it ultimately happens, is based on actual data and actual facts on the ground, so that we can deliver the best product for our families, our taxpayers, and most importantly, our students. So with that, I do not believe there are any objections from any Democratic member. Looking around, I don't see any. All Democrats can be recorded in the yes, sir. And same with the Republicans, correct, Mr. Chair Cutler?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The House Bill 1326, as amended, has been adopted, and I appreciate everybody's hard work on that. Not on the agenda, but I'd like to see if there's a motion to bring up House Bill 538 by Representative Ledbetter. Chair Cutler makes that motion, and I will second that motion. Representative Ledbetter, I know you're here, if you want to come on up. But before we recognize you, Kate, will you give a brief description of the legislation?
House Bill 538 by Representative Ledbetter directs public institutions of higher education to provide all first-year students with the opportunity to attend one of 3 on-campus voluntary sex trafficking and exploitation prevention and education programs.
Thank you. Representative Ledbetter, would you like to discuss your legislation, sir?
Thank you, Chairman Schweier, Chairman Cutler, and members of the Education Committee. Before you is House Bill 538. House Bill 538 is a reintroduction of House Bill 93, which showcased a collaboration and productive means of exchange within the House last session during the 2023-2024 legislative session. In working with Leader Bradford and then Leader Cutler, we were able to successfully champion House Bill 93 in a way that passed unanimously through the House of Representatives. The reintroduction of House Bill 538 remains that same testament of bipartisan prioritization of something very important to address. It is a piece of legislation that will ideally be introduced in collaboration with other anti-human trafficking pieces of legislation. Members of this committee have also worked with me in that collaborative capacity in fighting back in the Commonwealth against the anti-human trafficking efforts, or rather human trafficking efforts that have plagued our state. This bill expands existing education programs at institutions of higher education to include a component on human trafficking. Ignorance is where these predators prey in, and this bill is in an effort to eliminate that sandbox. According to National Human Trafficking Hotline, Pennsylvania has ranked 9th in the nation for the number of new cases in 2024, and it's estimated that more than 49 million people are enslaved in the world. Human trafficking has generated $150 billion in illegal profits every year, and this piece of legislation before you will help combat this evil. House Bill 538 takes a measured first step in ensuring our institutions of higher education use existing prevention and response programs to also include information related to human trafficking. This is not a mandate, an invitation for those institutions to come alongside us as members of the House of Representatives in a bipartisan, collaborative way to fight against this evil as we continue to grow anti-human trafficking measures within Pennsylvania. I ask for a yes vote and appreciate your time. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, sir, and thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from any members on the legislation? Chair Cutler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank the gentleman for working on this very important issue, specifically because one of the worst human trafficking corridors in Pennsylvania actually runs between myself and the chairman's other district, which is the 222 corridor. This is a very real problem, and this is a very good solution. So I will, not only will I be supporting it, I'll encourage our members to also support it with an affirmative vote.
Thank you, sir. And for my part, I too will be joining Chair Cutler in support of this legislation. And I would like to thank you, going back to last session, from working with us to get it to a place where I think there's, judging on the final roll call vote from last year, wide bipartisan support for it. Went about getting this bill into a great spot by working collaboratively, and I thank you very much for that. Seeing no further questions or comments, Chair Nelson, did you have something, sir? Okay. By all means, if you'd like. Okay, going once, going twice. All right. I saw it coming. There was a windup, man. Saw it coming. Good. Okay, very good. With that, that was the one chance. Tom, if you'll be so kind as to call roll, please.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representatives Abney. Yes. Curry. Yes. Friel. Yes. Isaacson. Yes. Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Nelson. Yes. O'Mara. Yes. Friel Otten. Yes. Probst. Yes. Prokopiak. Yes. Smith Waddell.
Yes by designation.
Takak. Yes. Young. Yes. Chairman Cutler.
Yes.
Representatives Anderson.
Yes by designation.
Cooper. Yes. Diorsi. Yes. Gleim.
Yes by designation.
Kozak.
Yes by designation.
McKenzie. Yes. Ortitai.
Yes by designation.
Rosal. Yes. Schlegel. Yes. Shalaba. Yes. Watro. Yes. The yeas are 26, the nays are 0.
Thank you, sir. House Bill 538 will be reported as committed. Before we head out, go ahead, Jim. You can boogie. You got another meeting to go. Either I'm getting older, members are getting younger, or we're joined by a whole lot of young people today. So welcome to the state capitol. Welcome to the House Education Committee. We try our very, very best to enact policies. We sometimes disagree on them, but policies meant to improve your educational experiences and give you the best place, the best tools that you need to move forward. So welcome to the committee. With that, this meeting is seeing no further business. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.